team.
Oh, they cut out Law already?
Yeah.
They have Henry Sims.
They have a
Who
guy
is that?
named Smith.
I don't even know who
Johnson.
Henry Sims is. I know
They have
Alexi.
Luke Mumba. I don't know if you guys said Nerlens Noel or not.
I know Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid, Michael Carter-Williams. Unfortunately, I know who Alexi Shved is. But that's a long story. I really shouldn't even know who he is. Hollis Thompson, I know from college. That's really it. I think half these guys are from the Delaware 87ers, which, by the way, is the most pathetic name for a D-League team there's ever been.
Luke Mumba came from
The Bucks.
Yeah, another UCLA boy.
Yeah,
I don't know anyone else really.
We have KJ McDaniels, Jeremy Grant, Brandon Davies.
Nerlens Noel is technically on that.
Oh, they have Tony Rollins too. Tony Rollins is good.
Robert Covington, Jakar Sampson. Yeah, this is... I'm not even going to get into... The degree of tanking by Sam Hinkie is just phenomenal. I respect the man for how well he tanks. He is the best loser in the league. By far. There's no other way to put it.
Nah. That's pretty hard to argue with when you're 118.
I want to see how many games they win. I honestly do. They are literally the reverse Bulls of the 90s. What it was 96 that record season? 97? CB, you're the expert here.
I'm sorry, what?
The Bulls record season.
72 and 10.
Yeah, what year?
I believe it was
97, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. The 76ers are the 1997 Bulls, but reverse. They're going to go 10 and 72. I'm calling it right now. That may or may not be accurate. I really don't know. All right. So, just to wrap up our headlines for tonight. UAB, University of Alabama Birmingham, shut down their football program, which was absolutely devastating for the players. We saw some of the emotional speeches made at that meeting. But the university president decided to shut it down because, quote, the numbers didn't look right. And they had a new coach coming in this year. They had, who I'm assuming they made countless promises to, in terms of his job. And it's just absolutely devastating. Jake, is this something that was warranted? Because they were improving as a team.
Here's the problem. The University of Alabama Board of Trustees were not a fan of UAB. They were out to get them from day one. The time down in Tuscaloosa, they were unhappy with them ever since UCLA's basketball coach found UAB's basketball team back in the late 70s. So, it's been a long time coming. When UAB's top donor passed away, the Alabama Board of Trustees saw their chance. They took away the institutional support. They realized, the UAB realized that they had to, it was way too much money to fund them. And they sadly just didn't really have a choice. Because the Board of Trustees decided to be greedy and take away the opportunity for these young men and women. There was no choice. It led to this, and UAB is going to be the first in what could be a dominant. Because as the Power 5 conferences separate themselves from everybody else in the NCAA, it's going to cost more and more money to maintain a good college football program. They are not the first. There are going to be a lot of teams in Florida that are in big trouble. You're going to have your directional schools in Michigan. You're going to have your Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan. They could be in trouble. You've got Florida Atlantic, Florida International. This could be the first in a long line of what we really see sometimes, even politics and economics. You have a very big gap between the upper class and the lower class. And the lower class is paying dearly.
Yeah, honestly, I've been an advocate of the SEC just breaking off and having their own league. And that's not a joke. I honestly think that that could be legitimate and get away from the hypocrisy and the corruption that is the NCAA. Maybe the Power 5 conferences should just break off and have just their different league. I don't. Do you think that's a halfway decent idea? Yeah.
Was this just to me or CB?
Whoever. Whoever wants to agree with me, really. All right. But do you agree with CB? Do you agree with this decision or no?
That the Power Five should make their own conference.
Or that UAB is getting shut down just because, quote, the numbers don't look right?
Well, there's a lot of schools that aren't making money from football programs because smaller schools don't really aren't bringing in the ticket sales that a lot of bigger programs are. And for some of the schools, it's really a problem. And for the bigger schools, they bring in all the ticket sales. And it's really expensive to run a football program. You're not bringing in the money to pay for all the expenses that go with it. It's a real problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know it's tough for those smaller schools, especially when they're associated with, say, Alabama, who, by the way, won the SEC title. We'll get more into that later, but probably going to be the number 1 seed in the playoff. But I could see, like, University of Texas San Antonio, UTEP, all those little schools, little branches of big schools. It's tough for them. I don't know if you guys have anything that could fix that, or... I mean, me and Jake are the founders of the I Hate the NCAA Club. We really do.
I mean, there's a lot of corruption. I guess they need a little more, but the problem is now they permit these programs to their students. It costs a lot more to maintain programs, and now we're seeing why. There's too much disparity. You need to be able to have the opportunity to break through.
Yeah.
And I think what the NCAA has to do is start funding these programs on their own for the first 5-10 years. Because that's the only way you can get any program off the ground at this point. And this is Alabama's doing. This is the Crimson Tide's doing. They always wanted UAB out of the picture. It was ruled by greed. Sadly, money makes the world go round, and sports not an exception. You look at a guy. Well, in 1991, this is from 538.com. 1991, when you'd have Gene Bartow, the athletic director, started to put a football team together. Alabama's AP was not happy. Its head coach, Bill Curry, was particularly adamant, saying, quote, not only will we not play them, we don't understand why they're talking about bringing another football team into the University of Alabama system. I'm the only football coach in the University of Alabama system. We don't need another football team at one of our other campuses. And then that same year, Bartow sent a letter to the NCAA accusing former and current Alabama coaches, including Bear Bryant, of recruiting bias. These two have been butting heads forever. Alabama was there first, and they held their ground.
Completely agree with you there. We're going to head to commercial real quick, and we'll be back with Garden State Sharks Bro of the Week, all that good stuff. But for now, a word from our sponsors.
Kicking it. What are we kicking? A soccer ball. That's right, Infinity Sports Network now has its very own soccer show. Hosted by none other than Jake Leiker, Byron Tollefson, and Noah Tabor. We bring you all the latest news on and off the pitch in the soccer world, whether it be the international or club level. Like us on Facebook at Kicking It. And don't forget to tune in once a week on Spreaker.com/Infinity Sports Network. Listen to us there.
Alright, and we are back. Jersey Boys Sports Talk with Jake Laker tonight. Of course, myself, Nick Bogatis, and CB Garrett along for the ride. Garden State Sharks. What a week last week. We had, well, first off, let's start. We had a whole lot of AFC North action. Chargers plus 6.5 at the Ravens. CB, you picked the Ravens. As usual, you didn't come out on top. The Chargers won outright despite the 6.5 points. 34.
That was a bad call.
What was a bad call?
Pass interference at the end of the game.
I didn't pay too much attention. First of all, I was at work, so I missed the atrocity that was the Steelers-Saints game. I missed the Ravens losing, which was great. I missed the Bengals almost losing to the Bucs. And I missed the Bills beating the Browns, which was also great. But I'm spoiling too much already. So, anyway, I came up on top again. Then we had Saints plus 5 at my Steelers. Again, Snowball broke his word. He didn't pick the Steelers. So, that agreement is off. You guys both picked the Saints. I'll give it to you. You guys got it. Saints plus 5. They won outright 35-32. That wasn't as close as it looks. The Steelers scored a touchdown and a 2-pointer in the closing seconds of the game. So really, the Steelers lost by a lot more. It's very painful for me to admit that, but I am a football realist. And really, the Steelers win. They win tomorrow, and the Bengals lose one more game. The Steelers beat the Falcons, and
Well, the Steelers played the Browns. The Steelers played the Bengals twice more.
yeah, we play tomorrow and on the last week of the season at home. So realistically, if the Steelers can win tomorrow, they have a really good shot at winning the division. But that's for tomorrow to think about. And it was also good for the Steelers because the Browns lost too. The Browns plus 3.5 at the Bills. CBU and Snowball picked the Browns. I was the only one who got it right and picked the Bills. The Bills covered, and they won 26-10. CB, you want to defend that pick, or was that just to try and top me on the standings?
Just get Josh Gordon the ball. That's the only thing I have.
There's not much else to it. I mean, Crowell, he's all right, but when you have a weapon like Josh Gordon there, you gotta just feed him. And Mike Patton said that it would, take some time for him to get used to it, and then he comes out and just explodes in his first 2 games back. So I think he'll have a pretty productive rest of the season. Granted, he's only playing in 6 games for the season. Less. And then we had the Giants minus 3.5 at the Jaguars. Snowball had so much confidence in his Giants. CB, you did too. You guys thought I was crazy when I told you last week that the Jaguars would win outright. CB, you even put this down to say how bad of a prediction it was. But I was correct.
They were up 21-0. The Bulls game was on, and then the Bulls game ends. The Giants lost.
Yeah, the Giants were up 21-0, blew a 21-point lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and lost 25-24. It was great. I was at work, and I kept coming back to the TV to watch. It was just phenomenal to see the Giants lose to the Jaguars like that. And then the Bengals. I think this was more painful for me to watch than the Steelers game. The Bengals, they lost. They beat the Bucs by 1 point. Not only doing what the Bucs do in their division, because I called that preseason, like you, Jake. And I don't know what has happened to this team.
Did you watch the game?
I saw bits and pieces of it.
Tampa has found the most creative and excruciatingly painful ways to lose. Today, or not today, last week, Lovie Smith debuted